There is a pattern etched into the fabric of your being, a vibrational blueprint, so fundamental, so quietly persistent, that it has been orchestrating every circumstance of your life since before you spoke your first word. The mystics called it your signature frequency. The Hermetic masters referred to it as your resonant seal. Modern quantum physicists are only now beginning to glimpse its shadow in their laboratories, though they lack the language to describe what the ancients understood with pristine clarity. Right now, as you absorb these words, this energy signature is humming beneath your conscious awareness, broadcasting a specific pattern into the quantum field that surrounds you. It is calling certain people toward you while repelling others. It is opening doors you didn't know existed and closing pathways you desperately wish would open. It determines whether opportunities flow to you effortlessly or evade you mysteriously. And here's what makes this knowledge so crucial. Most people live their entire lives completely unaware that this signature even exists, let alone that it can be identified, understood, and fundamentally transformed. This isn't metaphor. This isn't wishful thinking dressed in spiritual language. This is the mechanism through which your internal state crystallizes into external reality. And in this exploration, we're going to expose exactly how it works, where it came from, and most importantly, how you can rewrite it deliberately. But before we descend into these depths, I want to offer you something that will amplify everything you're about to discover. I've created a comprehensive ebook titled 5 Ways to Talk to the Universe and Actually Get an Answer. No BS. A practical guide that bridges the gap between ancient wisdom and tangible results. If you're serious about transforming your energetic signature and actually receiving clear guidance from the intelligence that orchestrates reality, you'll find this invaluable. The link is waiting for you in the description and my bio. Now, let's begin where all true knowledge begins, in the forgotten archives of those who saw beyond the veil. In the underground temples of ancient Egypt, initiates underwent a peculiar ritual before they were permitted to study the deeper mysteries. They were led into a chamber of absolute silence, a room constructed with such acoustic precision that even their heartbeat became audible. There, they were instructed to simply listen, not to their thoughts, not to their breath, but to something beneath both. The masters called it the Khat Ra, the body's song. They believed that every human being emitted a unique harmonic signature, and until a student could perceive their own, they could not hope to alter it. This wasn't isolated to Egypt. In the Vedic traditions of ancient India, the rishis spoke of nada, the primordial sound vibration from which all creation emerged. But more specifically, they taught that each soul carried a distinct vibrational pattern called a swara, which determined not just personality, but destiny itself. They developed elaborate systems to identify these patterns through breath analysis, studying how the rhythm and flow of prana revealed the deeper energetic blueprint governing a person's life trajectory. The Hermetic texts, those enigmatic manuscripts that survived the burning of the Library of Alexandria, contain perhaps the most explicit reference to this concept. In the Kybalion, the principle of vibration states, "Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates." But the deeper teaching, known only to advanced practitioners, went further. It declared that each consciousness possesses a fundamental vibrational rate, and this rate acts as a magnetic attractor, drawing experiences, people, and circumstances of matching frequency. The mystery schools understood what modern education has forgotten. You are not a static being navigating a neutral world. You are a broadcasting station, constantly emitting a complex waveform of electromagnetic, emotional, and subtle energies. This signature predates your current beliefs, your affirmations, your conscious desires. It was formed in the earliest moments of your development, coded by trauma and triumph, shaped by the emotional atmosphere you absorbed before you had language to describe it. This is why the law of attraction, as popularly taught, fails most people. They try to overlay positive thoughts onto a foundational frequency that contradicts those thoughts entirely. It's like trying to play a symphony through a radio permanently tuned to static. The ancients knew that transformation required something far more profound than mental repetition. It demanded a fundamental retuning of the instrument itself. And they knew something else. Something that has been deliberately obscured. This signature is not fixed. It is mutable, rewritable. The question is not whether you can change it, but whether you possess the knowledge and courage to do so. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness is a tuning fork. When struck, it produces a specific tone, not a sound you can hear with your ears, but a resonance that ripples through the energetic substrate of reality itself. This is your core frequency, your energetic signature. And here's what makes this understanding revolutionary. The universe doesn't respond to your words, your visualizations, or even your intentions. It responds to the vibrational tone you're actually emitting, which often contradicts everything you consciously believe you're asking for. Let me illustrate this with precision. A person might affirm abundance daily, visualize wealth, set intentions for prosperity, and yet remain perpetually broke. Why? Because beneath the surface of their conscious mind, there's a deeper frequency broadcasting. I am unworthy. Resources are scarce. Money comes with pain. This foundational tone was likely installed in childhood, perhaps watching a parent struggle, perhaps absorbing the unconscious belief that spiritual people shouldn't desire material wealth, perhaps encoded through a single traumatic experience of loss. Whatever the origin, it became the dominant frequency. The quantum field, that invisible ocean of potentiality from which all material reality crystallizes, reads this deeper signal. It's completely neutral, utterly non-judgmental. It simply matches your vibration with corresponding experiences. Your signature frequency is essentially a request form you're submitting to reality every single moment. And reality, with perfect precision, delivers exactly what you're asking for at the energetic level. But here's where it gets more intricate. Your signature isn't a single note, it's a chord. It's composed of multiple frequencies layered together. Your beliefs about yourself, your unconscious emotional patterns, your inherited ancestral traumas, your suppressed experiences, even the collective frequencies of the culture you're immersed in. Some of these tones support what you want, others sabotage it entirely. The dominant frequencies in this chord determine what manifests. The ancient initiates understood this as a law as reliable as gravity. They called it different names across different traditions: karma in the East, cause and effect in Hermetic philosophy, as above, so below in alchemical texts. But they were all describing the same mechanism. Your internal vibrational state is the cause. Your external circumstances are the effect. Not eventually, not sometimes, always. This is why two people can take the same action, launch the same business, pursue the same relationship, apply the same technique, and get completely different results. The action itself is almost irrelevant. What matters is the frequency from which the action emerges. One person operates from a signature of worthiness, expectation, and natural receiving. The other from scarcity, desperation, and doubt. Same action, opposite outcomes. The universe isn't being unfair, it's being mathematically precise. Now we arrive at the paradox that has confused seekers for millennia. If your signature frequency creates your reality, and your reality reinforces your signature frequency, how does anyone ever escape the loop? This is the enigma the mystery schools existed to solve, and it's why authentic transformation has always been rare. Most spiritual teachings make a critical error. They attempt to change the frequency from within the frequency itself. It's like trying to edit a film while you're still a character inside it. You cannot think your way out of a vibrational pattern that exists beneath thought. You cannot affirm your way out of a frequency that was installed before you had language. This is the trap, and it's where most seekers spend decades spinning their wheels, wondering why nothing fundamentally changes despite all their spiritual practices. The ancient adepts discovered something crucial. Your signature frequency exists in layers, like geological strata. At the surface, you have your conscious beliefs and current emotional states. These shift relatively easily. Beneath that, you have your unconscious patterns and childhood conditioning. These require deeper work to access. But at the deepest level, there's what the Tibetans called your root vibration, the primordial frequency established in your earliest experiences of existence, possibly even before birth. This is the foundation upon which everything else is built. Here's what almost no one tells you. This root vibration is held in place not by your mind, but by your body. It's stored in your nervous system, encoded in your cellular memory, embedded in the electromagnetic field your heart generates. Your body literally becomes the instrument that plays this signature continuously. This is why purely mental or intellectual approaches to transformation fail. They're addressing the wrong location entirely. The Hermetic masters spoke of the vibration of the Sphinx, a state of such profound stillness that the practitioner could perceive their own frequency objectively, as if observing it from outside themselves. Only from this vantage point could the frequency be consciously altered. The Vedic tradition called this the witness state, pure awareness, observing the patterns of consciousness without being identified with them. The Christian mystics described it as dying before you die, releasing identification with the limited self to touch something vast and unbound. But there's another layer to this that borders on the uncomfortable. Some people have discovered their signature frequency and chosen to keep it, even when it creates suffering. Why? Because it's familiar. Because changing it means becoming someone unrecognizable. Because the known hell often feels safer than the unknown heaven. Your current signature, however limiting, has become your identity. Transforming it requires a death of sorts. Not physical, but psychological and energetic. And here's the final piece that makes this knowledge dangerous in the hands of the unprepared. Once you genuinely shift your core frequency, reality rearranges itself to match the new vibration. Old relationships dissolve. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. People respond to you differently without understanding why. Your entire life can restructure within weeks or months. This isn't gradual self-improvement, it's a fundamental rewriting of your existence. The mystics knew this power could destabilize those who weren't ready to handle the consequences of their own transformation. So how do you actually access and transform this hidden signature? The ancients left us methodologies, and while they clothed them in ritual and symbolism, the core techniques are startlingly direct. The first practice is what the Egyptian initiates called the listening, a daily ritual of somatic awareness. Find 15 minutes of complete solitude. Sit in stillness and bring your attention not to your thoughts, but to the sensations in your body. Notice the quality of tension in your chest, the subtle vibrations in your solar plexus, the electromagnetic hum you can feel when you become quiet enough. This is your signature speaking in its native language. Don't try to change it yet, simply observe. Your body holds the truth, your mind has been trained to deny. Most people discover within days that beneath their positive affirmations, their body is broadcasting fear, unworthiness, or bracing for impact. The second technique involves what Hermetic practitioners called conscious dissonance. Once you've identified your dominant frequency, you deliberately expose yourself to experiences that contradict it, not through force, but through gentle, repeated immersion. If your signature broadcasts, "I am unseen," you practice allowing yourself to be witnessed, even in small ways. If it hums with "resources are scarce," you practice acts of generosity that terrify your conditioned self. The key is not pretending the old frequency doesn't exist, but creating new neural and energetic pathways that offer an alternative vibration. Over time, with consistency, the new pattern can become dominant. The third method is breath work, specifically what the yogis termed swara sadhana, the practice of consciously altering your breathing rhythm to shift your vibrational state. Your breath is the bridge between your conscious mind and your autonomic nervous system, where your signature is encoded. By breathing in specific patterns, long exhales to shift out of anxiety frequencies, rhythmic breathing to install coherence, breath retention to access deeper states, you literally retune the instrument of your body. 5 minutes of deliberate breathing can temporarily override years of conditioning, giving you a glimpse of what a different frequency feels like. But here's the practice most people avoid, because it demands ruthless honesty. You must identify and release the hidden payoffs of your current signature. What does your suffering give you? Does it make you special? Does it justify not trying? Does it keep you safe from risk? Your current frequency persists because on some level, it serves you. Until you consciously acknowledge and withdraw from that unconscious agreement, transformation remains theoretical. Write down specifically what you gain from staying small, from remaining victimized, from perpetuating your struggle. This alone can create an immediate shift. Finally, surround yourself with frequencies that match what you're becoming, not what you've been. Your environment is constantly reinforcing or challenging your signature. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the physical spaces you inhabit, all of these either amplify your old pattern or support your new one. This isn't about toxic positivity or avoiding reality. It's about strategic immersion in the vibrational field you're attempting to embody. The transformation won't be comfortable. Your old signature will fight for survival. You'll experience what mystics called the dark night, a period where neither the old nor the new feels stable. This is where most people retreat to familiar suffering. But if you persist, if you continue the practices, even when nothing seems to change, you reach the threshold. And beyond that threshold, reality itself begins to respond. Your life, as it exists in this moment, is not random. It is not the result of luck, circumstance, or an indifferent universe distributing blessings and curses arbitrarily. It is the precise, mathematical manifestation of the energetic signature you've been broadcasting, often unknowingly, for years, perhaps decades. Every relationship that has entered or exited your experience, every opportunity that opened or closed, every inexplicable pattern that keeps repeating despite your best efforts to change it, all of it traces back to this hidden frequency, humming beneath your conscious awareness. The ancient masters who guarded this knowledge understood something profound. The moment you become aware of your signature, you step outside the deterministic loop that governs unconscious existence. Awareness itself is the first frequency shift. Simply knowing that you possess this vibrational blueprint, that it can be perceived and transformed, begins the alchemical process. You are no longer a victim of invisible forces. You become the conscious tuner of your own instrument. But knowledge without application remains philosophical entertainment. The techniques I've shared aren't suggestions for eventual exploration. They're invitations to immediate practice. Your signature is broadcasting right now. The quantum field is reading it right now. Reality is crystallizing around it right now. The question isn't whether this process is happening. It's whether you'll participate in it consciously or continue allowing unconscious patterns to write your story. If you're ready to go deeper, if you're genuinely prepared to establish a direct dialogue with the intelligence that orchestrates reality itself, my ebook, 5 Ways to Talk to the Universe and Actually Get an Answer, No BS, will give you the precise methods the mystery schools use to communicate with and receive clear guidance from the field of infinite potentiality. This isn't about hoping for signs, it's about establishing a reliable, repeatable protocol for accessing answers. The link is in the description and my bio. Remember this: the universe isn't withholding anything from you. It's responding with perfect accuracy to the signal you're transmitting. Change the signal, and you change everything. The power has always been yours, you've simply been using it unconsciously. Now you know better. What frequency will you choose to broadcast tomorrow?